Hi guys, Constance here. Welcome back to the homestead. So today I am sharing a canning recipe with you. This is a really easy recipe. It's actually one that I saw Rachel over at that 1870s homestead do over a year ago, and when I saw it I thought it looked really good, and so I decided I was gonna go ahead and make it, and that is for a pickled coleslaw. And it uses just a few ingredients. It's super easy, and this is a high acid recipe, so you would either use a hot water bath canner, or if you happen to have a steam canner like I do, then you would use that. And both of those have the same processing time. If you want to learn more about using a steam canner, I have a video where I talk about it much more in depth. And I will do another video in the future where I go through the entire process step by step as well. I get so many questions on that, but generally this is a hot water bath canning recipe unless you have one of those steam canners. So to get started, you would need a head of cabbage, and I actually decided to mix it up a little bit, and I did half green cabbage and half red cabbage, just because I think purple cabbage or red cabbage is beautiful in jars, and I thought, why not mix it up a little bit? And so I used half a head of green cabbage. I just sliced it up, and then I did the same thing with half of a red or purple head of cabbage. Now once those were all sliced up, I kind of mixed them up a little bit in a big bowl. And then I sprinkled in 2 tablespoons of canning or pickling salt. I mix these all together with my hands just to kind of work the salt all through the cabbage. And then I set it on the table and I covered it with a tea towel and I let it sit for a few hours. You would want it to sit about 2 to 4 hours, somewhere in that range. And it's just going to draw out some of the excess liquid from the cabbage. After it had sat for a few hours, I rinsed the cabbage with cold water, and I just kind of did it in batches. That way I could get as much of the salt out as possible. And then I let the cabbage sit in the colander while I went ahead and I peeled and then finely shredded 3 carrots. And then in a pot on the stove, I mixed 2 cups of water, 2½ cups of white distilled vinegar, and 2 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. And I brought this to a boil, stirring it together and just getting it all mixed and all dissolved. And then once it had boiled for a minute, I kind of turned the heat down a little bit so that it wouldn't evaporate on me. And I started filling my jars, and this is done in pint jars. And you want to fill them to about a 1/2 inch of head space. And I really pack the cabbage mixture down in there. Now to each jar I added 1/8 of a teaspoon of pickle crisp and a pinch of celery seed as per Rachel's suggestion. And then I filled the jars with the brine, and again I filled this up to a 1/2 inch of headspace. And then you would use a bubble wand. I had actually kind of misplaced mine, so I just use a chopstick. That works just as good in a pinch. And got all of the bubbles out, and then I went ahead and I readjusted the liquid, adding a little bit more to fill in the space that there were bubbles in and bring it back to a 1/2 inch of headspace. Then I wiped the rims with a damp cloth that was dipped in vinegar to remove any residue that could possibly be on that jar, and that would hinder the sealing potentially. And then I put a lid on, put the ring on, and I put them in the canner. The processing time for this pickled slaw is 15 minutes in a hot water bath or a steam canner. Once the jars were done processing, I set them over on the counter, and then they just sat there overnight to cool and seal. And then the next morning I went ahead and removed the rings, tested the seals, labeled them, and put them in the pantry. And that pickled slaw is going to sit in the pantry for 4 weeks for the cabbage and carrots to pickle and the flavor to kind of develop. And it takes about that amount of time for the vinegar taste to sort of mellow out and it just develop a really nice flavor. So 4 weeks from now, I will open those up and give them a try and see how it tastes. And I mean, already I can tell you it looks amazing, and I think I'm really gonna like it. And so today I actually made another batch of it with the other half of those cabbage heads because I just thought it looked really good, and I'm sure we're gonna like it, and so I wanted to use it up, and so that's what I did today. If you would like to give this recipe a try, I have put the printable version of it on my website. I'll put a link to that down below. And this video is part of the March Canning Madness collaboration that is going on all through the month of March. Monday through Friday, there's videos going up on participating channels, and they are all sorts of different kinds of canning recipes. And at the end of the month, if you have left a comment on the videos, you are eligible to be entered in for a giveaway that I am sponsoring for one of those steam canners like you saw me using in this video. So be sure to leave a comment under the videos, watch all the videos in this series, and if you want all of the details on the giveaway, I will put a link to the first one in the series where I thoroughly explain it, and it has all of the rules in the description underneath that. So be sure to check out the playlist of all of the videos. I add to it every day when there is a new video going up. So that is it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me here again in the homestead kitchen. My name is Constance at A Good Life Farm, and I'll talk to y'all next time.